Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is episode 5 of Big Papa Timo playing some No Man's Sky, doing a basic beginner's guide. Last thing we did is we built our construction terminal, which is out here, and we have to go hire a base overseer who is apparently way the heck up there. Potential overseer recruit is on the local space station. So what we're going to do in the meantime, we're going to take our ferrite dust, which we just crafted from our rusted metal. And we're going to go ahead and process that. Not going to fill up the fuel with real carbon. I want to turn that into condensed carbon. We're going to check our inventory real quick. The exosuit here. Now I'm going to show you one other trick. What you can do is you can quick transfer. We're going to click on the albumin pearls, which we have 9 of these in stock, and we can send them to our starship inventory so that they are no longer taking up space in this bag. And then we're also going to take salvage technology and put that in the lower right hand corner. We're going to use that as a placeholder, and what that's going to do is if we need to get rid of something to fill up some inventory, we could always dump that. As much as I would hate to dump those, it's always a possibility. But since there is not a sentinel nearby, I'm going to take this opportunity to harvest some Mordite from these creatures. Now, killing creatures has a nasty habit of attracting sentinels, so if you do this, make sure that the sentinel hasn't appeared while you were killing little critters. Also, the mining laser is about the worst weapon in the world, but it works in a pinch. So we're going to go ahead and shoot some of these big uggies. Now, we want the Mordite for a very specific reason, and that's going to become apparent when we get to the space station. But in the meantime, just trust me. And we need it in batches of 20, so we currently have 62 divided by 3. Let's go ahead and just gather a couple more. We want to have at least 80. That should be 71. There is just ever so slight math involved in this game. Oop, he just jumped off the cliff in his death throes. That was kind of funny. Let's see how much we have. We have 78. We need just a scotch more, so we're going to kill this little guy. Hopefully he'll give us, a few. He's just jumping into the mining laser. And we overheat, and he gave us 5, so we have 83. Perfect. Okay. Now there's corpses of dead critters around our base. So be it. Oh, before we go, I'm going to show you one other thing. We're going to go ahead and click onto this. Now that we've done more than 8 items in our base, we can go ahead and upload. Now, we're also going to rename our base, and we're just going to do something simple, like hit the wrong button. Way to go, Big Papa Timo. I have a nasty habit of doing that. Oh, I did not mean to get in my ship. Oh, I'm just all sorts of messing up. I'm so sorry. Let's go ahead. Base registered to current owner, uploaded, and construction permissions granted. Note, uploading will overwrite any previous uploaded bases for this planet. Use the space station terminus to teleport to your base at any time. Let's go ahead and rename it. And this time, we're going to do Outpost 1. We are done with the rename. If you'd like, you can drop me a comment, and maybe we could rename this base if it's still in existence. Base registered to the current owner. Well, we've already gone through this. It says exactly the same thing. And then we're going to upload our base. What this is going to do is it's going to upload everything we've built for future save points, so that if something should happen to your game and you crash, your save point is registered and it's all the way that it is. It will also register the name so that when you do use those terminus, those teleporting devices in the future, it should show that you have named this Outpost 1. We're going to go ahead and take off now. and break orbit. And you know you're outside the atmosphere when you start seeing the asteroids nearby. We're going to go ahead and point over this way. And R1 and R2 at the same time, hold them down for 4 seconds until the counter's done, and start blasting through space. We have 24 seconds till we get to the space station. Normally what I would be doing right now if I had a longer one, oh, look at that. Let's slow down a little bit for the L2. We need to recharge our pulse engine. Remember how we shot up some tritium earlier? Here we go. That's what that's for. Now there are always asteroids between you and things. There's never a dead spot in space. So the guy just dropped out way early. And notice how there's asteroids right over here. So you can always find some asteroids to shoot relatively nearby. So if your pulse engine does drop offline, you can always just fly right into the heart of one of these bad boys and start shooting and get some more tritium. And you'll probably also get some silver and some gold. Now, we on Earth think of silver and gold as semi-precious and precious metals, but when you're in outer space, it's not really as precious as you think. They are very, very common elements in this game, and they don't really hold much value. Now, when you overheat your guns, like I just did, it tells you to go to your next weapon. I'll show you again. Overheat, switch to rocket launchers. You can cycle your weapon. We're going to go ahead and I'll show you that. Now, the rockets don't actually have ammo per se, but they overheat in one shot. So you only get one go at them until it has to reload, basically. No big deal. We're going to go ahead and cycle off of that and go back to our photon cannons. Target back on our space station. Jump in a little closer. Try not to smack into it. And that's something I do an awful lot. Basically, you're going to be doing a right 2 and the O as a boost. And when I come out of pulse, I have a nasty habit of hitting the X instead of the O. That's because I'm not a professional console gamer. I was always a PC guy, so my mouse controls were a little bit more specific. I didn't have 20 controls like I do on this PS4 controller, and I'm still getting a little bit more used to it. So it's just one of those things that you need to get used to. Alright, we are on a space station now, and I'm going to show you a couple tips and tricks on this. First off, we have landed on this single pad, and there's a bunch of other pads around us. That means there's other ships that could be coming in, and sure enough, there are. So we're going to allow a couple of these ships to go ahead and land, and I'll show you the first trick about a space station before we even bother to go looking for our hireling. We're going to go over here, and here's our first ship that's landed. We're going to scan it. That is a B-24-7 shuttle. It's actually a pretty nice ship for early on in the game, and it is worth 2.28 million units. Let's go ahead and let another one. Oh, even worse. This is going to make me feel so bad. This is a C-42-6, 40 million units. Let's go ahead and go over here and just make sure that that's just another shuttle. Yeah, that's just another shuttle. A-27-8. Oh, there's nice ships coming in. There are 4 classes of ships in the game. You have the C class, the B class, the A class, and the S class, and they get better in that order, C being the worst and S being the best. You also have exotics. Every exotic is in fact an S class. But what we're going to do is we're going to cycle through this real quick. Now this is a hauler. The reason this is worth 40 million is because if you come here and go over to make an offer on a life form ship, look at the size of this cargo hold. This has 42 cargo slots. It has 17% additional shields plus 1 to hyperdrive, and it has 6 slots in its technology. This is something you are going to want as soon as possible. It is not maneuverable at all. It handles like a brick, but with 42 slots of extra inventory, you basically pay 1,000,000 units per slot. But we have 15 slots on our ship, and when you compare our technology, we have 4 broken up into 2 twos. This has 6 that are all side by side. So you could exchange your ship for this one for 39.6 million units, or just buy it outright for 40. Now they're both C class, so this is not the best, but it's a lot cheaper than an A class of that same ship would be. An A class would probably be about 65 million. Seems like a lot of units, and it is. It takes some doing. We're going to go here and take a look at what this guy's got. He's got a much smaller ship. This is a B class. It is a shuttle. It has 22 slots in the main and 6 slots in the technology. And if you look at the price, it's 1.1 million units. We're going to go ahead and decline that because we just don't have the cash. And we're not going to have the cash for a little while. Now, we've gone ahead and looked at the ships coming in, and that's something you should always do. Scan it because it'll tell you all this information from here. See how it's a shuttle class, it's a B-22-6, and it's 1.49 million units. Our ship, of course, scanning that one. We're in a C class, the worst. It is 15.4, and not worth very much. Now, in the back here, there are 2 different ramps that we can run up. We can come up to this side, or you can go up to the other side. But one of the early tips and tricks for saving time and energy is to go ahead and use our jetpack. So I'm going to jump back in the ship, and it's going to just pretend like we just got out and get right back out. Do a little run over here and jetpack my way right up the wall. Now I'm up on the upper deck, and I didn't have to run all the way back there. It only saves a couple of seconds worth of time, but a couple seconds is a couple seconds. Now, there are a few things here in the space station you need to know about. We have this device over here. This is for changing your appearance. I'm not going to go over the appearance modifier just yet, but if you don't like looking like an Earth spaceman from the 1950s, you can go ahead and change it up. And then we have a couple vendors. We have this technology merchant here, and we have this device behind him, the exosuit upgrade. This is the most important thing in any new space station. Every time you go into space station, you come here first until you've maxed out all your additional slots. See how we get a flashing one? For 5,000 units, we can buy 1 additional general cargo slot. For 1,000 units, we can buy 1 additional technology slot. Now, technology is only used for modules and technology upgrades. Or we could spend 50,000 units for a single exosuit slot in the high inventory, the higher end. Now these will hold 500 stacks of things like oxygen, pure ferrite, where this side only holds 250, like the sodium maxed out at 250 here. But the high inventory that will hold 500. Now for things that only stack in 5s, they only hold 5. So like dihydrogen jelly, if you put it in the high capacity, it's only going to hold 5 per slot. It's a waste of time to put those in there. But it's always good to put 500 sodium in. But right now we don't have 50,000, so we're going to spend 5 on that 1 slot. Now in a future episode, I'll go over on how to get those for basically free. Now, that's the technology merchant for exosuits. This gentleman here is for exocraft. This person here is for spaceships. And this one here is for weapons. Now, after you go to the exosuit person, first time in here, always come to the exo weapon and check this out. Oh, goodness gracious. Look at that. It is an S class. This is absolutely amazing. I have yet to find one of these on any of my other games. This is a 24 slot S Class rifle. That is beautiful.